all that good stuff.
Welcome to the chillest study group you will ever see.
I put on my big sweater over my shirt because I'm cold.
So just real quick for everybody who's tuning in and watching, this is the Merkaba. What's that? Merkaba study group, first online study group series. So welcome. I think everybody here knows each other. We've got Angelina. We've got a thought right next to her. Myself, Nico, and Breezy to my right.
What?
So yeah. So because this is going to be uploaded to YouTube, I'm just going to go ahead and give a brief outline of what this show or discussion is about. So yeah, we'll be able to view this after we watch it and recap on what we talk about. So it's based on furthering our understanding of the Merkaba Light Body Vehicle, which is said to be a multidimensional vehicle that exists soul, and when we engage this part of ourselves, we make immediate connection with our higher minds, our higher selves. And so encompassing our multidimensional presence. So it's fascinating. It's fundamentally important for the idea of ascending. If you look it up, it's the vehicle of ascension. It's down to. So it's really important to about ourselves and nature, consciousness in general. So welcome.
Mm-hmm.
And
welcome.
So basically, we're here to chime in whenever. And essentially, we're here to learn together. You know, the teachers are us.
Yes.
I'll say real quick, in about 5 years of research and actually facilitating the process of one's energy body, which can be very powerful, and I'd compare it similar to a Kundalini activation. And part of this discussion will also explore methods of activations. So we'll initiate each other through that process. I believe everybody here actually has had the Merkaba activation done.
Indeed.
The particular one that I'm explaining. So, like another dimension, if we've activated our Merkabas, well, I think our understanding of Merkaba, we're still surface. Essentially, we're re-pioneering this ancient study that dates back, predates major religions of today. So we're the explorers putting on our safari caps and hopping into the driver's seats here.
Yeah, I like to be a pioneer. Get it, thought. See what you will see.
Yeah, if you guys want to
Fell out.
Introduction of who you guys are to our viewers watching.
I think I've heard
All right. Hey, I'm Angelina. I'm studying with the fam, with the light fam, that is, and here in Grand Rapids with Thought. And I also put together this cool thing called the Book Fair. I like to collect and redistribute used books and give them away for free.
Yeah, I love the Book Fair.
Your turn.
Every book is an adventure.
I'm Thought.
And we're about to dive into a book.
Ooh, yes. My name is Thought. I'm a poet that lives in Grand Rapids. I've been doing various learnings in person and through readings since about 5 or 6 years now. Starting with the Six Crows Alliance in Twin Lake, Michigan, and just kind of finding my own way from there. I'm also a poet. I travel around to festivals to help facilitate sacred space, to engage in conscious dialogue and help try and create a community that comes together to be vulnerable with each other and uplift each other in our own like cultivation and life path things. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm excited to see what we talk about.
More. You're just
Nice.
so much professional and better.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Beautiful.
You're so
Thank
much.
you both for being here and
Internet. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So, my name is Breezy. I also go by Breezy Spread Love on the interwebs, and I'm here to engage in a deeper understanding of the Merkaba. I have experienced about 3 or 4 activations now. I think I'm starting to lose count. And I'd like to understand the root, and I would like to learn how to use it. I also want to blast off with all my friends and explore our inner spaces. Whoop, whoop.
Awesome. All right, thanks you guys for being here, and those of you watching, complete online discussion. So stay tuned and look out for the links. How we're going to kick this off is understanding the roots of where Merkaba comes from, and I've been pointed to Kabbalah religion to understand really the essence of the origins of Merkaba. So I figured we'd start our class off here by kicking it off, and in this book, passages from this book, it's called the Mystical Qabalah. You know, oddly enough, it does not mention the Merkaba per se book. It mentions reference to use the Merkaba. I was made aware by a thought before going live that there are some other sources that we can look into in the future here that speak more directly on Merkaba from a Kabbalistic background. All right, so I figured I'll just read the back of the book real quick, kind of dip our toes in the water. That this book remains a classic in its clarity, broad erudition through back the Babylonian activity and beyond. Eastern Dion Fortune, the author of this book, was one of the first to bring this secret tradition to a wider audience. Before her, so often only added to the overall mystery of elaborating by. Thanks for that. But her account is simple, clear, and the Kabbalah could be described as a potential explanation of the paradox of the many and the one, the diversity within the monotheistic unity, whereas the Old Testament outlines the social and sociological development of a chosen group, and Kabbalah provides a detailed plan behind the creative evolutionary process. A mention of the authorized English version of the Bible is the tradition of many Hebrew God names by the single name God. The Mystical devotes a chapter to each skeptics.
Dramatic.
Oh, schematics. Sounds very technological. Names, or names of God, the qualities of other things which focus on principal archetypes behind evolving human activity. The spiritual source, the principle of force and form, love and justice, the principle of the Christ force, atheistic and logic, the dynamics of the psyche, and finally the manifestation of life on earth in the physical body. Mystical Qabalah works in a profound psychological way. Its lesson for the individual are invaluable, and this book is a must for all who feel drawn to know themselves better. Their inner and outer worlds may be as one. The revised edition includes an additional chapter on Fortune's original and editorial update for complimentary readers, and fold out the Tree of Life with the Tree of Life diagram to facilitate text. So I think I ripped the Tree of Life out of this book at some point. My bad. By mistake. Which is beautiful. The Tree of Life just as an art piece, you know. It's very beautiful. Yeah, this really is the cover of the book here, a symbol of the Tree of Life. That's what it looks like. Tree of Life. So, all right. So I think without any further ado, we'll go ahead and get started with the first chapter. Unless is there any questions? We just talked about.
Professor, you're doing a great job.
Okay.
Continue.
And I will thank you. So I have the book attached to the Facebook group page. There's a PDF, which Thought you already mentioned you were looking into, that y'all can read from. So I guess just if you guys want to, we can popcorn and dig into this.
No.
Do you guys, does anybody want to kick it off?
Would you want us to read it?
We can all take turns reading.
Maybe Breezy can kick us off, and we can take turns as we feel necessary. Just to, change it up so it's not just like one person reading everything. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. All right. Well, so we're gonna get started.
All right, everyone. The Yoga of the West. Number 1. Very few students of occultism know anything at all about the fountainhead whence their tradition springs. Many of them do not even know there is a Western tradition. Scholarship is baffled by the intentional blinds and defenses with which initiates both ancient and modern have wrapped themselves about, and concludes that the few fragments of a literature which have come down to us are medieval forgeries. They would be greatly surprised if they knew that these fragments, supplemented by manuscripts that have never been allowed to pass out of the hands of the initiates, and completed by an oral tradition, are handed down in schools of initiation to this day, used as the basis of the practical work of the Yoga of the West. Number 2. The adepts of those races whose evolutionary destiny is to conquer the physical plane have evolved a yoga technique of their own, which is adapted to their special problems and particular needs. It is based upon the well-known but little understood Kabbalah, the wisdom of Israel. Number 3. It may be asked why it is that the Western nations should go to the Hebrew culture for the mystical tradition. this question will be readily understood by those who are acquainted with the esoteric theory concerning races and subraces. Everything must have a source, spring out of nothing. So each new phase of culture of necessity arise within the preceding culture. Deny that Judaism was the matrix of the European. When they recall the fact that Jesus and Paul were both Jews. No race, except the Jewish race, could process this new grafted because no other race was monotheistic. Theism and polytheism had their day, and a new entry was due. The Christian races owe their religion to the Jewish culture, as surely as the Buddhist races of the East owe theirs to the Hindu culture. A good time to take a break.
Any questions?
Information you take on at once.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where are we right now?
Brittany.
Oh snap! It's Brittany Eden.
Hey, Brittany. How's it going, pretty lady?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you.
Sorry I'm late, guys.
Oh, it's good. We're just going through the very first chapter of the Kabbalah, and we just read up to number 8, or no, page 2.
Well, technically
Paragraph 3.
5.5 that we're on.
Point
Or
5.
4.4, sorry.
Okay.
Oh wow, really?
So I'm just in time.
Yep.
Do you want a popcorn? Brittany?
Yeah, that's fun. Let's pop one. Pick a popcorn, Bree.
Everybody have the book.
I think we lost Brittany's audio. I can do it. Maybe we'll popcorn over somebody else next. Number 4. Okay. So mysticism, Israel supplies the foundation of Western occultism. This is exactly what we were talking about earlier. It theos upon which all ceremonial is developed. That's strangely worded. This famous glyph, of the tree of life is the best meditation symbol. Yes, it is comprehensive. It is not my intention to write a historical study on the source of the Kabbalah, but rather to show of how are made from, although the roots of our system are, there is no reason why we should be by any tradition. A technique that is being practiced is a growing thing, for the experience of each enriches it and becomes part of the package. It is not necessary, incumbent upon us to do any certain things or hold certain ideas because the rabbis who lived before Christ had certain views. The world has moved on since those days, and we are under a new
dispensation.
Is that how you say the word? Okay. What was the truth, or the true in principle when it was true in principle now, and the value to us? The modern Kabbalist, the heir of the ancient Kabbalist, but he must reinterpret doctrine, reformulate method, the light of the present heritage he has received is to be of practice. All right. I do not that the modern Kabbalistic teachings them are those rabbis, but they are the lineage, therefore, and the natural development therefrom. Number 8. Let's see, Brittany, do you want to take it from number 8?
Is my microphone coming through?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. Because it seems like my internet's like a little bit sketchy right now, probably just because of the rain or something. So just let me know.
Good on my end.
What was that, Nick?
I said you're coming in great right now on my end.
Okay, great. Number 8. The nearer the source, the purer the stream. In order to discover first principles, we must go to the fountainhead. But a river receives many tributaries in the course of its flow.
One sec, Britt. We're on number 8, which is still on page 4.
She's on the right one. She started in the right place.
I'm on like the 3rd sentence now.
Oh, looking at a different. My bad.
Okay, but a river receives many tributaries in the course of its flow, and these need not be necessarily polluted. If we want to discover whether they are pure or not, we compare them with the pristine stream. If they pass this test, they will be may well be permitted to mingle with the main body of waters and swell their strength. So it is with a tradition. That which is not antagonistic will be assimilated. We must always test the purity of a tradition by reference to first principles. But we shall equally judge of the vitality of the tradition by its power to assimilate. It is only a dead faith which remains uninfluenced by contemporary thought. Now we're on number 9. The original stream of Hebraic mysticism, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Okay. Has received many tributaries. We see its rise among the nomad star worshippers of Chaldea, where Abraham in his tent among his flocks hears the voice of God. It has a shadowy background in which vast forms move half seen. The mysterious figure of a great priest king, born without father, without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, administers to him the first Eucharistic feast of bread and wine after a battle with the kings in the valley. The sinister kings of Edom, who ruled there was a king in Israel whose kingdoms are unbalanced force. How many are we reading before we popcorn?
Just read to wherever you feel comfortable reading. You can go straight through. You can read a couple sentences. You know.
Okay.
Go with the flow.
Bam!
I'll do one more, and then I'm going to popcorn. Generation
Do it.
by generation, we trace the intercourse of the princes of Israel with the priest kings of Egypt. Abraham and Jacob went thither. Joseph and Moses were intimately associated with the court of the royal adepts. When we read of Solomon sending to Hiram, king of Tyre, for men and materials to aid in the building of the temple, we know that the famous Tyrian mysteries must have profoundly influenced the Hebrew esotericism. When we read of Daniel being educated in the palaces of Babylon, We know that the wisdom of the Magi must have been accessible to Hebrew Illuminati. And
I know what that is.
I don't know what the order is that you guys have been reading in, so.
It doesn't matter.
No,
Anybody
we
can
just started.
Anybody can hop right in, just organically.
Yeah.
So if you're done,
Popcorn.
let's see. I can take it over unless somebody else would like to.
Well, neither Angelina have gone, so if Brittany wants to popcorn to one of us.
Okay, you guys pick.
Okay, rock, paper, scissors.
All right, you go.
All right.
Epic.
Damn, that was
intense. To spice it up for the YouTube viewers. So,
viewers.
We're live.
The ancient mystical tradition of the Hebrews possessed three literatures: the books of the Law and the Prophets, which are known to be the Old Testament, the Talmud, or the collection of learned commentaries thereon, and the Kabbalah, or mystical interpretation thereof. And these three of the ancient rabbis say that the first is the body of tradition, the second is its rational soul, and the third is its immortal spirit. Ignorant men may with profit read the first, learned men with study with the second, but the wise meditate upon the third. It is a strange thing that Christian exegetes have never sought the keys of the Old Testament in the Kabbalah. 12. In our Lord's day, there were three schools of religious thought in Palestine: the Pharisees of the Sadducees, and whom we read so frequently in the Gospels, and the Essenes, whom are never referred to. A story tradition avers that the boy Jesus, ben Joseph, when his calibre was recognized by the learned doctors of the law, who heard him speak to the temple at the age of 12, was sent to them by the Essene community near the Dead Sea to be trained in the mystic tradition of Israel, and that he remained there until he came to be John the Baptist in the Jordan before commencing his mission at the age of 30. Be it as it may, the closing clause of the Lord's Prayer is pure Kabbalism. Maktuk, the kingdom; Hod, the power; Nikzak, the glory; former the basal triangle of the tree of life, with Yesod, the foundation of the receptacle of influences, as the central point. Whoever formulated this prayer knew his Kabbalah. 13. Christianity had its exorcisms with the Gnosis, which owed much to both Greek and Egyptian thought. In the system of prayer of Pythagoras, thank you, with an adaptation of the Cabalistic principles of mysticism. Popcorn pot.
The exoteric state-organized section of the Christian Church persecuted and stamped out the esoteric section, destroying every trace of its literature which it could lay its hands upon, to eradicate the very memory of a gnosis from human history. It is recorded that the baths and bakehouses of Alexandria were fired for 6 months with the manuscripts from the great library. Very little remains to us of our spiritual heritage in the ancient wisdom. Everything that was above ground was swept away, and it is uni? All right. And it is uni with the excavation of ancient monuments the sands have swallowed that we are... And it is until with the excavation of ancient monuments the sands have swallowed that we are beginning to rediscover its fragments. It was not until the 15th century, when the power of the church was beginning to show signs of weakening, that men dared to commit to paper the traditional wisdom of Israel. Scholars declare that the Kabbalah is a medieval forgery because they cannot trace a succession of early manuscripts. But those who know the manner of working of esoteric fraternities know that a whole cosmology and psychology can be conveyed in a glyph which means nothing to the uninitiated. These strange old charts could be handed on from generation to generation, their explanation being communicated verbally, and the true interpretation would never be lost. When in doubt as to the explanation of some abstruse point, reference would be made to the sacred glyph, and meditation thereon would unfold what generations of meditation had ensouled therein. It is well known to mystics that if a man meditates upon a symbol around which certain ideas have been associated by past meditation, he will obtain access to those ideas, even if the glyph has never been elucidated to him by those who have received the oral tradition by mouth to ear. Popcorn Breezy. Hello?
I think they turned their microphone off.
Ah.
It's showing me the symbol where it has the
Oh yeah, I've seen that too. I guess Popcorn Brittany then.
If you guys want to turn it back on, when I like hover my mouse, the thing shows up at the top along with like my call setting.
Okay, we're back.
I was typing something, and when you type, it makes this really annoying clacking sound.
Ah.
But I don't know where we are. I wasn't paying attention in the study group.
Pay attention. So, were you at part 16, Thought?
Yeah. Let me get back to the PDF. Yeah. Yep. Yes.
The organized temporal force of the church availed to drive all rivals from the field and destroy their traces. We little know what seeds of mystical tradition sprang up only to be cut down during the Dark Ages. It is inherent in the human race, and although the church had destroyed all roots of tradition in her group soul, nevertheless, devout spirits within her fold rediscovered the technique of the soul's approach to God, and developed a characteristic yoga of their own. Closely akin, the Bhakti Yoga of the East. The literature of Catholicism is rich in treatises.
How do you say
Rich
that?
in treaties, darling.
Treats. Loves the treats.
We love treaties.
Please tell me it doesn't say that.
It does.
That's treats.
Are you sure it's not treatises? On mystical theology.
Hang in there. Popcorn.
Popcorn Angelina.
I'm sorry I came back and ruined everything.
But it does look like treaties.
It does.
You can keep reading if you want.
Okay, no, I had the giggles for a second, but that's no sense. I hope this is entertaining for everyone.
If we're live. Log into
Okay.
Google right now. Leave us a comment.
Please leave a comment and subscribe. Alright. Which reveal practical acquaintance with the higher states of consciousness, though a somewhat naive conception of the psychology thereof, thus revealing the poverty of a system which does not avail itself of the experience of tradition. 15. The Bhakti Yogi of the Catholic Church is only suitable for those whose temperament is naturally devotional and who find their readiness expression in loving self-sacrifice. But it is not everybody, and Christianity is unfortunate in not having any choice of systems to offer it to aspirants. The East, being tolerant, is wise and has developed various yoga methods, each of which is pursued by its adherents to the exclusion of the others, and yet none would deny that the other methods are also paths to God for those to whom they are suited. 18. In consequence of this deplorable limitation on the part of our theology, many Western aspirants take up Eastern methods. For those who are able to live in Eastern conditions and work under the immediate supervision of a guru, this may prove satisfactory. But it seldom gives good results when the various systems are pursued with no other guide than a book and under unmodified Western conditions. Popcorn Angelina.
19. It is for this reason that I would recommend to the white races of the traditional Western system, which is admirably adapted to the psychic constitution, gives immediate results, and if done under proper supervision, not only does it disturb the mental or physical epouse, it happens with regrettable regrettable frequency with unsuitable systems are used, but it produces a unique vitality. It is this peculiar vitality of the adepts which led to the tradition of the elixir of life. I have known a number of people in my time who justly be considered adepts, and I have always been struck by the peculiar ageless vitality they all possessed. 20. On the other hand, however, I can only endorse what all the gurus of the Eastern tradition have always arrayed. Pause. You know how Madonna is like timeless? She said,
Yeah.
Maybe she drinks the elixir of life.
I think Photoshop is her elixir of life.
That's something loud. Okay. 20. On the other hand, however, I can only endorse that all the gurus of the Eastern tradition have always averred that any system of psycho-spiritual development can only be safely and adequately carried on under the personal supervision of an experienced teacher. For this reason, although I shall give in these pages the principles of the Mystical Qabalah, I do not consider it to be in anybody's interest to give the keys to its practice, even by the terms of obligation of my own initiation. I were not forbidden to do so. But, on the other hand, I do not consider it to be fair to the reader to introduce intentional blinds and misinformation, and to the best knowledge, the belief of information I give is accurate, even if incomplete. The 32 mystical paths of the concealed glory are the way of life, and those who want to unravel their secrets must tread them. As I myself was trained, so can anyone be trained who is willing to undergo the discipline. And I will gladly indicate the way to any earnest seeker. Now we are on chapter 2, the choice of a path. Do we want to stop and talk a little bit about chapter 1?
Yeah, let's do it.
I like that idea.
Pause for a break, a book break.
Pause for effect.
Is there anything? Yeah. So, what stuck out to us, friends?
What? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
It's really striking to me that there seems to be, when you first get into occultism, there seems to be such a wide range of like different mystic schools that have like popped up over the years. But again, you know, Kabbalah has its roots in Egypt. Egypt has its roots back to, you know, Sumer and into the Hindu systems. Like all of them have like this common thread. And it's interesting that we can finally, you know, through digging through these things, find like the root of what's gone on to become a lot of mystery throughout the last few millennia.
Good. I wanted to talk about, I wanted to find the bullet point for it before I touch base on it. Does anyone else want to add something?
I remember reading this the first time when Nick was staying at my place and just thinking it was really strange that they mentioned in there that, you know, for somebody who comes from a Western system, like it's just easier for them to follow a Western system. And at the time I was in yoga school and I was kind of completely switching over, I guess, to the other side. And it was like very foreign to me and it was very strange. And I had to Google a lot of words to even understand what they were talking about sometimes, because they still use like Sanskrit words in their daily vocabulary and it's just weird.
Yeah.
But, you know, they were saying that if we have a really good basis in something, that we shouldn't ditch the system that we already have to go study another one. Like we can make it there, whichever path we're already on. So I just thought that was kind of peculiar.
Totally. I also wanted to just touch base on bullet point 12, where it talks about the Lord's Prayer is the beginning of that. And they're talking about how whoever wrote the Lord's Prayer knew their Kabbalism, and just like the Father, like the glory, the power, and the Father all having it be that connected to this Egyptian root, I thought was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
When we came to that, I got excited.
Yeah. That one part blew my noodle a little bit.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that prayer since I was 2.
Yeah, just like as like raised Catholic, like that's something that like you hear and you say all the time. So it's interesting to see how these other religions have totally transpired into our Christianity here in our civilization. You look comfy, Brittany.
Yeah. Well, I was sitting next to my router, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to do a couple hours of this.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be broadcasting. It's planned to go until 10 if we've got the energy for that. But yeah, I'm really fascinated. You know, I think as we explore Kabbalah, we'll really have a deep insight on the roots, you know, and that's incredible about the Lord's Prayer. And you know, that was like chapter 1, and she's saying that she's gonna launch us much deeper. I kind of missed the part, Angelina, what you were talking about on the last part that you were reading. It said to like not mislead people. It almost sounded like don't information to anybody, but
I've felt that way with a lot of like ancient texts, especially when you start getting into like the occult side of it. It's like anything Masonic as well. They're like, don't show this to anybody. But then again, like through the powers of attraction, somehow I got this book, and I was drawn to this book. So, what is that?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's funny you had the exact same.
Really do a wrong thing.
You're talking about 20, where he's talking about not giving away the keys like to the reader.
Yeah. I didn't like grasp all of that, and what did that mean? What do you think that meant?
So, going back and reading it one more time, it says, on the other hand, however, I can only endorse all of what the gurus of Eastern tradition have always averred in any system of psycho-spiritual development can only be safely and adequately carried on under the personal supervision of an experienced teacher, which kind of goes along with what Brittany was just talking about how gurus are saying, you know, like, keep these kind of things to ourselves because I'm sharing this with just you. For this reason, although I shall give these pages the principles to the Mystical Qabalah, I do not consider it would be in anybody's interest to give the keys to its practice, even if by the terms of the obligation of my own initiation, I were not forbidden to do so.
Well, right there, what did she mean by that? That last sentence?
It sounds like...
what do you think she's saying?
It sounds like a tenet of his personal initiate, or her, I don't know the gender of the author. Their personal initiation forbade them from sharing the keys with anyone who wasn't also going to be initiated. Who wasn't studying directly under them.
I agree.
So there's certain things. They were talking about like symbols of meditation that we can get there regardless, even if we don't have somebody to show us the way. I think he's just saying that some things are only passed down from a teacher, from mouth to ear.
Yeah. I totally think that I agree with both of you. I think that it's kind of like that's his own warning of just like, hey, you know, I was told that this is sacred and you're supposed to study underneath someone. But then in the next sentence, he does go on to say, but on the other hand, I do not consider it to be fair to the reader to introduce intentional blinds and misinformation. And to the best of my knowledge and belief, the information I give is accurate, even if incomplete. So I think that what he's finishing it is saying that I may not be able to tell you exactly everything in this book of what to do and how to do it precisely as the way my teacher showed me, because you don't have a physical guru with you. But I will share with you the best of what I can give in this form. That's what I am interpreting it as.
So, yeah, it sounds like she's saying, like, definitely learn it under, like, a guru, but anyways or something. I might be reading that the wrong way. I probably am. Trying to read it real quick myself. For this reason, although I shall give in these pages the principles of mystical thought. Sounds like we're self-initiating ourselves into Kabbalah. I feel okay about it either way. Because Brittany, you having the same book that I had, which I felt was a really obscure book, just intuitively